So I'm Kevin. I graduated from UCI. I was class of 2018. I interned at a company called Avetta, and then I actually became full-time in that company, and that's where I am today as a Senior Devops Engineer. I would consider myself a CS person, yes, although I don't do normal programming. I work in DevOps, so it's a lot more configuration than coding, but I do a lot of getting into the details a lot, like liking the problem solving part of it, getting really into all the different technologies and stuff like that. So in that regard, I would consider myself a pretty inline CS person. So DevOps in a nutshell is a developer will work on code, and then a QA person will verify it. And then at that point, it actually needs to get installed on a server in order for a customer to actually be able to see it on their internet browser. So DevOps is the process of taking it from QA and getting it live on the internet, so to speak. And the other part of it is that it needs to be reliable. Like if the server goes down, is it still going to be available? Can we have multiple servers? Is it going to be protected from being hacked and things like that? So that whole space of things is DevOps. Most of the time what I do for work is I'm in my terminal. I'm not usually looking at like a directory tree or an overview page or something like that. I'm looking through the directory, kind of opening up Vim programs and stuff like that and shelling into different servers. And then my other screen would be logging into a lot of third-party websites. So I'll be in AWS, as well as looking at Cloudflare, as well as looking at Terraform's page. There's a lot of different technologies that are involved in getting the code out to the web. And so it's a lot of making sure all those different little parts are working together in tandem so that the code release pipeline is working. I think the biggest part about working compared to being a student, at least in DevOps in particular, is that I don't have many deadlines. I mean, school is all about like the next assignment when it's due and stuff like that. But DevOps is kind of a hybrid developer and support role. That means I'm often getting tickets to help out and fix things. And so for my regular actual development tickets, I don't have deadlines as much. As long as I'm on track and on progress for those things, I can keep a pretty reasonable pace and not have to worry so much about like running up against deadlines, having to get, those last minute panic, like, oh shoot, things are due soon. So that's a big thing that changed when I entered the working world. I think in a more general sense, I think the biggest thing is schedule. I have to be there. So in terms of working in a company and working on a team where there's different developers or DevOps people and stuff like that, typically there's going to be stand-ups throughout the week, and that's the time for the manager to go through the different tickets that each team member has. Be able to triage, like, is something taking too long? How's the progress? In terms of my individual work, I generally work on it on my own. I don't pair program too often, but sometimes I'll have to reach out to someone else because either I'm doing something similar that they're more specialized in, or I'm kind of hitting something stubborn and I just need a second brain to look at it. There is collaboration in that aspect of getting help and different expertise as well as a fresh perspective. But yeah, a lot of my work still is generally pretty individual unless I'm reaching out for help. I think the advice I'd give to an incoming CS student is to stick with it. It's going to be kind of hard in the beginning to get up to speed with working knowledge, like understanding enough to grow and to be able to learn more. It takes some time to get over that hump, and after that, it actually becomes a lot more interesting and a lot more fun. And I think the other piece of advice is that you don't have to love it or be passionate about it. I think that's some of the stereotype. But I think as long as you are on the side of the spectrum of you like it rather than dislike it, I think it's worth sticking through. I guess career that ends up being is one that it leaves you with bandwidth and capacity to be passionate about other things as well. And it's a pretty good, stable, well-paying job. So I think from a career standpoint, that's kind of advice I'd give.